What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today we've got another live fantasy football mock draft for you, back in Fantasy Pros, but with a little bit of a twist because this will be a zero wide receiver draft strategy breakdown. Should be pretty interesting. We are going to do this via a 12-team full PPR league, and we will select fourth overall. I think that should give us a good opportunity to try and employ this draft strategy. Our roster, same as always, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, and then 5 bench spots. But that's pretty much it. So let's get into it. And while we wait for this thing to load, a quick reminder, if you enjoy, hit that like button, subscribe, give us a follow on Twitter at alldaypigskin to continue interacting with us there. And let us hear it in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree? Do you employ this strategy or any others, along with any other questions you guys might have? We will do our best to answer them all. But with that being said, let's kick this thing off. And like I said before, this will be a zero wide receiver draft strategy. We did a zero running back draft strategy not too long ago, so I figure why not look at the other side of the coin, zero wide receiver, which, as the name implies, basically the idea is you go running back heavy early on. I'll say let's do either the first 3-4 rounds. You could argue how deep you want to do it, but we'll set it at that marker. And again, the idea is you can get good wide receivers in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, and also that running back is the most important position. So that's why a lot of people probably prefer this strategy over a zero running back strategy. But again, I know it's kind of a split situation. I probably, if I had to pick one strategy over the other, I'd side with this one. But again, it gets tough because a lot of times when you commit to one or the other, you're bypassing best player available, which is always dangerous. But right now, actually, with all of that being said, I will make our first selection, and it will actually be the selection I would have made regardless if we were, breaking down this strategy or not. It's going to be Saquon Barkley. It was only ever Barkley or Jonathan Taylor. I feel a little bit more comfortable with Saquon Barkley. They both have, the Giants and the Colts, 2 quarterbacks that are potentially going to take opportunities away from them, rushing in Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson. I just think Anthony Richardson is probably going to do it a little bit more so. And as crazy as it sounds, I trust the Giants offense a little bit more. So we'll go Saquon Barkley here. The first 3 picks before us were McCaffrey, Bijan Robinson, and Austin Eckler. So now here in the second round, let's look at the draft board and also the cheat sheet in terms of who's available. I really was hoping a Tony Pollard or a Nick Chubb would fall to us, but again, that's dreaming. It's a situation where I think Fantasy Pros does a very good job of ranking these guys compared to some other sites. They're going where they should be. But here, it's not. The point isn't really to highlight what other teams are doing. It's kind of our mentality and whether we can validate the strategy or not. And right now, I'm not going to lie to you, Amon-Ra St. Brown is a very, very tempting pick. I might go that direction if this was just a typical draft. But Breece Hall is also available. Now, I know a lot of people love Breece Hall and love with him, and I understand it. I would be as well if it hadn't been for his ACL injury last season. But because that happened, I do have him a little bit lower on my rankings than some. However, he is my next highest ranked running back, so we're just going to go in that direction. Nothing else really to say here. So we've got 2 running backs already. They are Breece Hall and Saquon Barkley. Not a bad start. And again, this is where it hurts because here I would be going 10 times out of 10. I'd be going Jalen Waddle, and I wouldn't even think about it. But per our strategy, running back. And I was really hoping Najee Harris would fall to us because I really don't like the running backs afterwards. I think there's a big, teardrop. But let's take a look at it regardless. Aaron Jones, I just don't trust the Green Bay offense without Aaron Rodgers. So thanks, but no thanks. So with that being said, I'm probably going to give the edge here to a Joe Mixon. It's either between Joe Mixon and Miles Sanders. So I'll go with Mixon, the guy that's on the better offense. But I do think Miles Sanders will surprise a lot of people this season. So we're going to go with Joe Mixon, and we're going to have our 3 starting running backs. Now, Miles Sanders is still available. We could go Miles Sanders here. The question is, do we want to make this a little bit on the extreme of a zero wide receiver strategy where we go running back in the first 3 or in the first 4 rounds? You know what? Let's make this a difficult exercise. I'm going to go Miles Sanders here. So we're going to have 4 running backs. We're not going to think about this position ever again. And now we're just going best player available. That's what it's all about. So here, DeAndre Hopkins or DJ Moore. I'm going to go DJ Moore because, I mean, hell, I still don't know where DeAndre Hopkins is going to end up playing. And I do think that that is a big factor. I know, I at least know DJ Moore is a certainty. Now, yes, Hopkins, if he goes in the right spot, he could be much better than DJ Moore. But it also could, it's a gamble right now. I don't like to draft a guy that's a free agent, for God's sakes, this high. So we're going to go with DJ Moore as our wide receiver 1. And then let's start piecing this thing together. We're going to take a look at our cheat sheet, but I have a decent idea of who I'm going to go with next. Obviously, we need pass catchers here. Kyle Pitts is tempting, I'm not going to lie. But Marquise Brown, I think by far and away, is the best wide receiver left available. And I think there is a decent drop-off afterwards. And I think I can piece together the tight end situation with, some other guys here. So I'm probably going to go with Marquise Brown. Let's see what might happen. I'm trying to see how many other teams have a tight end here. Only one other team. So, I mean, if Kyle Pitts survives 4 selections, this time around and the next time around, teams 2 and 3, then maybe we got a chance. But I'm going to stay disciplined here. I'm going to go with Marquise Brown. And I'm assuming I'm going to see Kyle Pitts being selected. And I was correct. We see Kyle Pitts being taken immediately after us, as a matter of fact. But that's all right. Then Justin Fields, Mike Williams, Herbert, Isaiah Pacheco, and Mike Evans. So we're in a situation right now where we have 2 wide receivers. I mean, look, folks, we started drafting wide receiver in the freaking 5th round, and we ended up with DJ Moore and Marquise Brown. To be fair, I don't think Marquise Brown's ADP has been updated as high as it should be. So keep that in mind. Now we could go wide receiver again, or we could go with a tight end. I'm trying to see how many other teams have a tight end here. Again, it's a situation where there's probably going to be a tight end run. So we could go with an Evan Ingram. We could go with, I'll probably wait at this point in time. Njoku, Dalton Schultz. I think one of them is going to be available to us in the next round. So here, who do we go with? Do we go with a Christian Kirk or do we go with a Brendan Ayuk? I think it's between those 2 guys at this point in time. Like I said before, I'm not even looking at the running back position. We could also go with a quarterback at this point in time. I think, right now we are in the 7th round. We've transitioned into just taking best player available. So there is something to be said about taking Trevor Lawrence and then maybe one of those wide receivers. Well, probably not. I think we go. I do think we go wide receiver here, honestly, because afterwards, to me, there's a big drop off. So the only question is, do we go Christian Kirk? Do we go Brendan Ayuk? Obviously, Calvin Ridley is joining the crew in Jacksonville, so Kirk won't have as many opportunities. Brendan Ayuk, he has to contend with Debo, with McCaffrey, with George Kittle. So I think I'm kind of talking myself into giving Christian Kirk a chance here. So let's go with Christian Kirk. We do need some more depth at that position. We go with him, and then let's see what happens. Yeah, as expected, there is a quarterback run. I can't say I'm too surprised. So the top guys, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, all get selected. Evan Ingram is still there, though, so that's intriguing. I was considering him in the last round. I do have Christian Kirk, so, you might be saying too many Jacksonville Jaguars, but I don't necessarily mind it. I think that offense could take the next step forward. So I do like Evan Ingram here. We could also go Tua. Let's see how many other teams need a quarterback. So actually, we can wait at quarterback because all these teams after us that are drafting already have one. So a little bit of a cheat sheet there, utilizing it. So I'm going to go with Evan Ingram. We need a tight end, so we get that taken care of. Now we can just go best player available. I could even go with another tight end, honestly. I think Njoku could be a decent value if something happens to Ingram, so keep that in mind. Quarterback. Again, it's Tua. Even if we miss on Tua, I wouldn't mind having Aaron Rodgers as my quarterback and then just getting in Anthony Richardson later on as my high upside guy. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do. So here I'm just going to go with Njoku, and then we are going to select one of those quarterbacks. Let's see what falls to us. But overall, I think we're in a decent spot. I really do. So Tua is actually, funny enough, still there. So the question is, who do we go with here? Do we go with Tua? Do we go with Aaron Rodgers? I think Aaron Rodgers is probably a little bit safer. I think he is going to have a bounce back season. I really, really do. I mean, offensively, last year in Green Bay, he did not have a lot of help. There's injury concerns with Tua, so let's go with Aaron Rodgers here. We got our quarterback, and then again, here we can go best player available. Nothing really screaming my name at running back, wide receiver. We can take a chance on Michael Thomas. I don't think that's a bad choice right now. If he even comes close to a fraction of what he's been before prior to his injuries, it could turn out nicely for us. And now quarterback, I'm going to go with the high upside guy. So I already have, I think, a steady performer in Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to go high upside here, and that is Anthony Richardson. If he wins out that job, what he can do with his legs, I think that can work out very, very nicely for us. And that actually concludes this kind of breakdown of the zero wide receiver strategy. So let's see what we have here. We get a B grade, so I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. I think we did as well as we could, considering we kind of took this to the extreme. Don't forget, we went running back with the first 4 picks of ours. So we got Barkley, we got Breece Hall, we got Joe Mixon, and Miles Sanders. I mean, the fact that Miles Sanders is a bench guy for us, that is huge. Probably also why our grade isn't as high. Wide receivers, we had DJ Moore, Marquise Brown. I was very happy how that broke for us. Missed out on that top notch tight end because we went Marquise Brown instead of a Kyle Pitts, but I'm not too upset about it. We were able to get Evan Ingram and David Njoku. We then got Christian Kirk on the bench, Michael Thomas at quarterback. It's not sexy, but I think he can get the job done. Aaron Rodgers and Anthony Richardson. Richardson, a really, really nice high upside guy, so I like that. But overall, I don't disagree with this grade. I think considering that we went 4 rounds deep with just running backs, I actually think we did a very good job. And I wouldn't mind if this was my team, but I do think that there were points where we could have upgraded. Like I said before, Jalen Waddle in the 3rd round would have been very, very nice. But either way, let me know your thoughts. Agree, disagree, one way or the other. If you enjoyed, hit that like button, subscribe. Hopefully this was helpful. And again, give us a follow on Twitter at AllDayPigskin to continue interacting with us there. In the meantime, though, we'll see you guys in future videos.